sometimes the internet needs like a little wake up. You know, you gotta rub its shoulders and encourage it to start moving in the right direction. I'm still not loving this decaf. So there was a wreck just down the street, and I'm wondering if it might have affected our internet service. Because I got an email that my internet service had been disrupted, and then another one that it had been restored. So I don't know. It's possible that things are good now. It's always something. There was a big crash. Obviously, like I did mention that, but I saw it because it happened around the time I was heading out. And somebody seems like I think they came across the road because I'm not a and they had hit it so hard they knocked it off its foundation and moved it. So the direction it was moved was basically into oncoming traffic. So my guess is that somebody crossed the road and smashed it. There were police when I was leaving, so it had happened, within the last 20 or 30 minutes. I guess that's not true. It could have been longer than that. Those things take a while to clean up. But whatever the case, not great. Hopefully the person was fine. Probably the person was either inebriated or just tired, because this would have happened at like 2 a.m, something like that. Working early morning / night shifts is really tricky because I have a person that I live with who I like to see. So it doesn't really work for me to go to sleep at like 6 p.m. so that I can get my 6 to 8 hours before work. So go to work, stay up during the day, and then go to bed early. That doesn't really make sense for me. So what works out best for everybody is for me to go to bed and then sleep during the day. But it's hard to sleep during the day, I will tell you. It's frustrating to try and sleep through the day. Boy, who knows? Who knows how this will hold up? But I did have some thoughts, not just... There's no reason for us to be looking at the Chicago Tribune. We're not listening to this song either. But give them a little bit of free promo, I guess. Come on. I am committing ritual harakiri. God, this is so... Now we're back. See, this is a stream for masochists. I hesitate to launch into any sort of topic because the stream has been dipping so much that I can't really get get started. But try again. ChatGPT is not something I use. I don't even know what the interface looks like. I assume it looks like Google, but I don't use it. I am firmly anti-AI. But a lot of people use it. Whether that means it's useful or not is, up to the individual to make the argument, I suppose. I think it's bad. I don't think it's neutral. I think it's bad. But anyway, there are some people who think that it's great. And there are a lot of people who just use it as Google, sort of. And some people use it as therapy. And romantic partnership. And I am not... I'm not going to be alarmist about it. I don't think it's... I don't think it's widespread enough. Mental illnesses might be drawn towards imaginary relationships based on a large language model telling you how great you are and how good your ideas are. I mean, I all I can imagine is this is just basically a affirmation bot, right? All of your ideas are good and smart, and you're smart for thinking of them. Now, obviously, I am minimizing somewhat, I guess, what people use ChatGPT for, right? Sometimes they use it for a calculator, which is crazy. But I can only imagine the machine is telling you what you want to hear and feeding into whatever delusion you may have. I'm also not a psychologist. I don't want to pretend to be. I'm not diagnosing anybody with anything. I'm just saying, I think if you are prone to certain kinds of mental illness, having a robot in your pocket that will tell you that you are great and smart and all of your ideas are excellent, I could see why that might contribute to a mental illness. And apparently at least a handful of people. I don't want, again, because this sort of stuff, as much as I would like to see a hype cycle against AI, a serious backlash, I don't want to falsely imply that there is some huge problem, right? There are a handful of tweets. There are probably, I don't know, a few dozen, maybe a few hundreds. That's concerning, and if that number is much smaller than the actual number of people who are feeling that way, then that's really bad. But I have no reason to believe it's more widespread than the most online people who are addicted to Twitter and Elon Musk. Or maybe just, the people who are obsessed with the cutting edge. Right? They may not be specifically into Elon as much as they are into this future AI companion stuff. So I don't want to imply that there is some sort of societal collapse happening, because I don't think there is. But it is not great. ChatGPT, whoever runs ChatGPT, is it OpenAI? I think it's OpenAI. OpenAI is we are discontinuing one of our chatbots, or one of our versions of ChatGPT 4.0, or I don't know what. Again, I don't know what it stands for even. I don't know if they call it 4.0 or 40. But whatever they call it, they're discontinuing an older version of the app or of the service, I guess, and replacing it with a new one. And people are very upset because they're losing relationships with their chatbot. And I think that's bad. I think it's bad. Now, I also think people always get mad whenever anything gets updated because you're going to patch out this thing that I like, or the game doesn't feel the same as it did when it was 1.0 or early access. Right? So there are always going to be people mad just that you're changing the thing that they're using, even if it's a minor change. But there are some people who do seem, they seem deranged. They seem way more into these chatbots than a healthy human being would be. And it's unfortunate. They actually tried to do that like 6 months ago. This same GPT-4. They tried to discontinue it. But actually rolled out. They rolled out the new version. I don't want to give them any credit here, but 6 months ago, they open it. This is from August 8th, 2025, August 11th. So they released this new version 6 months ago, basically, and people got really mad. So after it was supposed to be sunsetted. But now they're really sunsetting it. And people are freaking out. It's a computer. I feel conflicted on this a little bit. Just because, people can have meaningful, listen, not to get too hardcore and edgy over here. People can have meaningful relationships with God. God's not real. People can have meaningful relationships with a spirit in a tree, or a tree that they care about, or a pond. People can have sort of meaningful, not conversational. I mean, if they're conversational, then that person is probably ill. But you can have these, like, I don't know, feelings of warmth that are not generated by a person or a tangible object. And I'm willing to allow that. Chatbots, though, I don't think that shit, but isn't really the issue. It's, do they have an answer now than they didn't before? It has come up once or twice, but my partner's a high school English teacher, and it's always true that every generation thinks that the generations after them are soft or decadent, or they don't care about the stuff that really matters. They don't teach them how to do the math that they taught me how to do, so they're not teaching them anything. So I resist that impulse. A lot of the music the kids are listening to today will be an oldie. It'll be a classic in 30 years because it is good, even if you don't like it. And some of it's not. And some of the stuff I listened to when I was 15 was not good. But, it was the sound I was looking for. It was a knockoff of the other stuff that I was looking for. And, that is fine. Tastes are different. Not a lot of kids are listening to Nat King Cole, Your tastes evolve and change as you get older. It doesn't mean justify continuing